Được. Được ạ.
If you find this scene familiar, you're right. You've probably seen this somewhere on social media where people discuss a lot about the male's patriarchal discourse. This is also the topic that I want to share about: the mic, the man, and the manipulation. Decoding Patriarchal Discourse in Vietnamese reality show Paradise Island. If you don't know much about this show, it's fine. This is a program that was copyright, produced, and exploited in collaboration with GTBC Korea. This is the first reality show about dating in Vietnam. And now, let's come to the two main characters in the video. As Yuna Vũ, or Vũ Kiều Anh, born in 1998, is a content creator, photo model, and master's student in Korea who became famous after the dating show Paradise Island on VTV. And Manh Kien's full name is Trần Manh Kien. Currently, he is a model and does business in the transportation industry. He is also famous for his performance in Paradise Island, but with a quite scandalous status, as gia trưởng, or patriarchal. They went on a date in episode 4 for dinner. However, a seemingly casual date turned into a national conversation about gender roles and toxic masculinity, or patriarchal traits. Here, this podcast will argue that the multimodal language and strategic media framing of the Manh Kien and Yuna Vũ interaction on Paradise Island deliberately accelerated the conflict between traditional patriarchy and modern culture, successfully transforming a sensational media moment that reflected a powerful public resistance to outdated gender roles in Vietnam. First, I want you to know that what the audience hears is not raw dialogue, is a mediated discourse. This is where the core linguistic analysis begins. As the materialities of reality TV and the physical, technical features of the medium that allows producer to craft the message, we must analyze the specific lexicon used by Manh Kien, which is crucial for asserting a dominant identity. Here, terms like bánh bèo and tiểu thư are not neutral. They're used to categorize Yuna Vũ and express a specific traditional language ideology, a set of belief about how women needs to behave. Manh Kien's demand for Yuna to use the particle a when addressing him is a speech act. He used this language not just to communicate, but to act, and more specifically, to perform an act that attempts to establish a social relationship based on hierarchy. The final message is multimodal, as meaning is created through words, image, and sounds working all together. Also, Yuna Vũ visible discomfort and disappointed facial expression function as a powerful, nonverbal mode of communication, contradicting Manh Kien attempts at control. Yuna explicit statement, "I think you're going a bit too far," is a direct verbal challenge to the imposed authority. This immediate resistance transformed the interaction from a simple date into a moment of social discourse. Her words construct an identity that refused to conform the traditional script. And when Yuna heard Manh Kien told her to say được ạ instead of được, her expression changed from calm to confused and annoyed. This visual reaction functioned as a mediate, silent form of criticism and resistance. When a highly controversial remark is made, the subsequent close-up shot for Yuna's face gives her reaction, drawing the viewer's attention directly to her feelings. This technique emphasized that her emotional state is a key source of information, thereby framing Manh Kien's comment as problematic. This temporal relationship also creates a strong causal link, ensuring the audience interprets the words as a direct cause of her negative feelings. Next, I want to talk about the text mode in the video. As we can see from the title, they put the word gia trưởng into the quotation marks. Here, the title is the primary point of engagement in the digital media environment. They function as a crucial mode of communication, governing how the content is presented and received. This method explicitly tells the audience this video is about patriarchy. It served to express a point of view, prejudging the character and the event. This title acts as an interpretive filter, ensuring that Kien's subsequent actions are viewed through the lens of toxic masculinity. So, why does a bad TV date matter? Because it's not just entertainment, it's a narrative with meaning. Media linguistics shows that the stories work on two levels. On the literal level, it's simply Kien and Yuna having an awkward dinner and clashing over communication. Simple, right? But then there's the symbolic level. This is where the manipulation begins. At this level, the story functions to preserve or challenge specific ideological positions. On one side, the show framed him as a symbol of patriarchal norms, aligning with that traditional social practice we often hear. As men make houses, women make homes. On the other side, Yuna represents the modern challenge to that norm. When it comes to power, the entire date is actually a performance. And when he demanded Yuna say ah or proudly claimed to be Zachuang, he was attempting to use conventional devices of language to assert dominance. But when she refused to participate in his performance by saying, "I think you're going a bit too far," she challenged the established way of thinking about how a polite woman is supposed to respond to a man. The producers framed this event to judge the patriarchal mindset. By highlighting these specific awkward moments, they made Kien's behavior the dominant perspective on what went wrong, and this leads to social reframing. As we know, reframing is social change. It's about changing what counts as common sense. By presenting Yuna's resistance as valid and Kien's behavior as toxic rather than just traditional, the show helps reframe dating standard in Vietnam. It suggests that traditional male authority is no longer the common frame for a successful relationship. Now, let's pay attention to the expert reaction to the date, as their responses serve as a powerful meta-discourse, essentially a commentary on the main event. When these experts respond to the event with shock and displease, they're actually using their critical language to actively guide the audience's interpretation. This creates a judgment frame that explicitly confirms Yuna resistance. Ultimately, the panel support the narrative that such patriarchal language has no place in modern relationship. And now, if we take a look at the comment section, we can see that the audiences were reacting to the performance just like how the producers wanted, which was how the audience shifted from passive viewers to active consumer, participating in a fierce debate. This proved that the conflict between two characters was actually a fuel for attention economy. Here, the producers could see the potential of their controversy. As the more shocking the dialogue, the more clicks and shares the show received. By accelerating the materiality of social media platforms, which afford many-to-many interaction, they transform a single scene into a viral event. This controversial discourse is economically valuable because it hands the audience the role to create the story through their comments. In the end, the show took advantage of this interaction, proving that in reality TV, public outrage is just another form of profitable engagement. In the end, what is the truth behind Paradise Island? To answer this question, we need to reflect on whether we watched an authentic interaction or a manipulated trap. In many ways, the show might be engaging in a mild form of propaganda for modern values. By demonizing the patriarchal character through specific framing and editing, the producers weren't just entertaining us, they were preserving and promoting a specific ideological position. However, that manipulation sparked something very real. Let's take a look back at Yuna's resistance. That quiet no amplified that the media platform catalyzed a massive public backlash against Kien. This reaction suggests a growing, powerful social resistance to patriarchal attitudes in Vietnam. The audience didn't just watch the show, they saw it as a way to challenge dominant counter narratives and reject outdated norms. So, what's the moral behind the story? As listeners, you should remember that you were never just hearing raw dialogue, you were consuming mediated discourse. Always be critical of how media is mediated, what is highlighted, what is cut, and how it shapes your understanding of social issues. Becoming an active consumer means asking those hard questions, because sometimes TV shows aren't just sources of entertainment, they are the maps we use to navigate our changing social world. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening.